Most players will develop some form of arm pain during their tennis life. Most of them are currently using gear that makes that more likely. Not because they chose badly, because 5 popular brands are selling products built for conditions that have nothing to do with how most players actually use them. This video is not about price, it is about the gear sitting in your bag right now that is quietly limiting your game, and in some cases, wearing down your body. 5 brands, 3 that fix what they broke. Head's endorsement roster is Djokovic, Zverev, Medvedev, the most technically complete players on the ATP Tour. Their Speed Pro and Prestige lines are built around those players' mechanics. The Speed Pro carries a stiffness rating above 67 when strung. The swing weight sits above 330. The string pattern is 18 by 20, dense enough that without a full, fast, technically correct swing, you are not generating spin. You are generating force, and that force has to go somewhere. When a stiff frame makes contact with a ball, it does not bend. Flexible frames absorb a portion of impact energy within the frame itself. Stiff frames pass that energy directly into the wrist, elbow, and shoulder on every single shot. Over time, this is one of the leading contributors to tennis elbow and recreational players. A 200-player clinical study is currently running to document the direct link between racket stiffness and lateral elbow injury. Head makes genuine rackets. But rackets built for Djokovic's body, technique, and 20 years of professional conditioning are not the right tool for a club player who plays twice a week and sits at a desk the other 5 days. Nobody at the pro shop is going to tell you that. Penn Championship is America's #1 selling tennis ball. USTA approved, available everywhere, from Walmart to the corner sports shop. Most clubs use them. Most coaches fill their bags with them. And on Tennis Warehouse's own product page, verified buyers have documented that 1 in every 4 cans arrives with balls that are already dead. Not slightly soft, dead. One buyer at the 4.0 level had the balls fail inside 15 minutes of hitting. Another bought a full case, got injured, came back months later, and found the bounce had gone even though the cans were still sealed. The real damage is subtle. When you train session after session on balls that bounce wrong and sit low, your timing adjusts to compensate. Your muscle memory calibrates around a ball that does not exist in your matches. You show up to a league match, the balls bounce correctly, and nothing lands where you expected. You are not playing worse. You have been practicing for a slightly different game. If any of this has clicked in a way you did not expect, subscribe. Not because we need the number, because this channel exists to put information in front of players that the brands funding the sport would rather you never sit down and think about. What's coming is worse. Dunlop's CX line is one of the best value players' rackets available. Nothing about that has changed. This is not about the CX200 or the CX400. This is about what Dunlop puts inside their recreational rackets at the sporting goods chain. When a player buys a mass-market Dunlop at a chain store, they are buying a name that carries real credibility earned by the CX series. The assumption is that the setup is complete and court-ready. The reality is that the strings inside are cheap synthetic gut, installed at aggressive factory tensions, chosen for production cost and shelf life, not for how they play. Cheap monofilament strings have a documented dead feel and high initial tension loss. Within 3 to 5 hours of play, the tension has dropped and the feel is largely gone. The Dunlop FX500, their popular mid-market frame, has been reviewed as measurably stiffer than the Head Instinct MP. A demanding frame spec paired with dead stock strings is a double problem for any developing player's arm and feel. Restring the day you buy any racket. The Babolat Pure Aero is one of the most recognizable rackets in the sport. Yellow and black. Nadal for 2 decades, Alcaraz now. The spin potential is real. The marketing is relentless. The stiffness rating that makes it work is the part nobody puts in the brochure. The Pure Aero carries a stiffness rating of 69 unstrung. Tennis bros called that a red flag for anyone with sensitive arms. Tennis Nerd's review of the Pure Aero 98 was plain. It requires a fast swing speed to play controlled, and it is not recommended for anyone with a history of tennis elbow. The topspin Alcaraz generates comes from his swing speed, which allows the ball to dip in from a stiff frame at pace. Without that speed, the stiffness does not create spin. It creates vibration, and that vibration travels into the arm. There is also something worth knowing about the racket Alcaraz actually uses on tour. It is a custom prototype not available in stores. The retail Pure Aero marketed on the back of his results is not the racket he is using to produce them. Wilson charges $300 for a racket that has been running the same upgrade cycle for nearly 20 years. Here is what they put inside it. Wilson Sensation is one of the strings commonly pre-installed in their mid-market and recreational frames. As a synthetic gut, it carries high initial tension loss as a standard characteristic. Within a handful of hours of play, the string bed no longer performs as it should. The player does not know this. They feel the racket is not delivering what they expected. They look at upgrading the frame. The new frame arrives. It is also strung with Sensation. The process repeats. Wilson charges a premium for the frame and cuts costs on the component that determines roughly half its performance. That is not bad luck. That is a margin decision. 5 products, all popular, all destroying something. Here is what belongs in the bag instead. Toroline launched in 2018 with no tour deal, no marketing spend, and no reason to be on most players' radar. Independent labs gave their O Toro Tour 100% scores on spin, control, tension holding, and stability. Not all 4 on average, all 4 individually. Tennis Nerd confirmed the scores hold up on court across multiple rackets and sessions. Their caviar string stayed playable past 10 hours of hitting, above average for any copolyester. The Stevie Hybrid was designed specifically for arm comfort, cushioned contact without the deadness of cheap stock gut. A direct antidote to the Wilson Sensation problem. The string your stringer recommends is usually the one with the best margin. Toroline is the one with the best lab scores. Signum Pro has been making polyester strings since before most club players picked up a racket. No tour deal, no poster. A reel of Tornado at $70 for 660 feet produces 16 to 18 string jobs at roughly $4 each. Luxilon RPM Blast at $20 per set costs $320 for the same 16 jobs. Verified buyers on Tennis Warehouse describe Tornado as outperforming RPM Blast in spin, power, and tension maintenance. Their Experience line is independently reviewed as arm-friendly with exceptional control and comfort. The brands funding the tour need you to buy their strings at $20 a set. Signum Pro just needs you to try them once. Fila's fashion heritage is loud enough that most players walk straight past their performance shoes. That is a mistake. The Mondo Forza was adopted on the ATP and WTA tours in 2023. Tennis Warehouse playtesters logged 10+ hours on it and came back with no significant outsole wear. Tennis.com called it designed to take a punch, built for the surface, and reinforced in all the right places. It comes with a 6-month outsole durability guarantee. The Axelis 3 earned the same playtester praise and the same warranty. Both models sit at $100 to $130 below the Adidas Barricade at the same outsole commitment level. Fila's image is what keeps this shoe underpriced. That is not their problem. It is your opportunity. 5 brands, 5 different ways to quietly sabotage a game without knowing it. The damage is slow and cumulative. A body that starts to hurt. A practice game that never transfers. a field that never quite develops. The question is not what your favorite pro uses. It is what the product was designed for, and whether your game and your body match those assumptions. In most cases, they do not.